Well, today I'm showing you one of my more complex presets in the Valeton GP 200. One of you beautiful ladies asked me if the Valeton GP 200 does have seamless, gapless preset switching, and to be honest, that is not the case, but I think the gaps in between the presets are tolerable in my opinion. But maybe I can show you that. So let me open the editor. For you it's here, and currently I'm in Stompbox mode because I would like to show you something some way which I use more than preset switching. But anyway, where is it? Let's go back to patch mode, then maybe I can show you the gaps. So I will play a chord. Hope you could hear it. So yes, there are gaps, but yeah, as I said, to me they're tolerable, and hope that helps you to decide if they're tolerable for you. Anyway, I would like to show you some other thing which I do usually, and if you're familiar with the more complex modeling units like the XFX, for example, you have different scenes. So that is, scene is more or less a snapshot where some effects in your preset are activated and others are deactivated. So you can make different snapshots of one preset, as like you would do with an analog pedal board, where you engage some pedals in one situation, in another situation you have engaged completely different set of pedals. And you can do this in a way in the Valeton, which is not that comfortable like with scenes in the XFX, because with scenes you can just say I would like to have this set turn on when I hit the scene button, and then it's always turned on. It doesn't depend on from where you're coming. What you have here is you have controls. So first of all, let's go to the stomp mode. By the way, you can also combine modes here. You can use the user mode, and then yeah, you are more free to assign something here. But anyway, let's go to the stomp mode, and then here you can see suddenly, if you go to stomp mode, here you have patch up and down on these two buttons. Currently I have drums here, but I don't need these. So what is important is I have 4 controls here, because you don't have more controls, only 4. Control 1, foot switch 5, control 2, foot switch 6, control 3, foot switch 7, and 4, foot switch 8. And these controls, they activate or deactivate different modules. So for example, this is my initial state where no control is engaged. When I change to the preset, it's this sound. It's yeah, the Soldano amp model, as you can see here. This boost, saturation, which does a little bit to the sound. Especially in the highs, it's adding nice harmonics. I would like to reduce this a little bit more, the high cut. Or maybe a little bit too much. I'll just leave it around 8K. So yeah, the noise gate is engaged. High speed decimator. The cap lock. Modulation is disengaged here. It's set to the C chorus mode 3. EQ is disengaged. Come to that in a second. Delay is disengaged. Reverb is engaged. So my initial state is basically rhythm tone. And the control number 1, which is on the foot switch 5, if you remember, turns on the delay. Win a track delay with a nice modulation. Anyway, so you can turn on or off the delay in this effect. And as you could hear, it's gapless. At least for my ears. So that is the control 1, which we will keep engaged. Control 2 is turning off the distortion. Gives you more or less not that saturated tone. If we hit control 1, delay is turned off. Well, if you need it, in some situations you don't need that much saturation. And control 3, foot switch 7, is turning off the modulation. Turning on or off the modulation. Of course, we can turn on the distortion again with control 2. But if you like these big crunch tones, maybe you don't need that much distortion, so you can turn off the distortion drive. Anyway, so you can see it's just you are turning on or off different stomps, like the name says. Another thing you can do here, so let me turn all these things off, so I'm back now in the initial state. With control 4, I'm turning on or off a completely different set. As you can see, suddenly the amp and cap is disengaged, modulation is engaged, and the EQ curve. And that is my clean tone. Of course, it's the same modulation like I was using before, and I'm using this EQ curve here. Could be a little bit louder, I think. If I hit control 4 again, I'm back in my rhythm setting. So as you can see, here you have a patch where you have a clean tone, distorted tone, and also lead tone, something with delay. Everything you need basically for maybe a usual rock piece. So that is my way of setting up these patches, I think. Of course, you can do it with different presets and not using the stomp mode. It's more convenient, of course. But if you're somehow not satisfied with the gaps in between the patches, I recommend to stay in the same patch and use this, maybe the stomp mode. And as you can see here, from lead to clean, it's just one time I have to press the button, and all these things here are engaged or disengaged, so it's working. But what you have to keep in mind here, of course, it's not working like the scenes I explained before. You have to keep in mind from where you're coming from. So for example, if you were here in this scenario, but you choose with Ctrl 3 to use the modulation, then the modulation is turned off if you hit the clean patch, because usually I would like to switch from lead with no modulation to clean with modulation. Well, it's no problem, because then you can hit Ctrl 3 again to turn on the modulation. So that's pretty nice. And yeah, if you're okay with maybe 4 controls. By the way, you can also assign some freaking things to the expression pedal. I made a video about that. Please check that out. But it's basically you can choose in between 2 modes, and maybe with one you can control the delay volume or maybe the overall volume of the patch, and in the other mode the wah. So yeah, you could check that out if you are a guy who likes to use the expression pedals. I personally don't use these things, but yeah, especially for wah, it's maybe useful. And what else? Of course, you could turn on other things here too if you want. But as you can see, there are not that much effects in the chain. So of course, with the more complex modeling units like the XFX, or even with the bigger mower ones, the mower G300 for example, you have way more effects blocks where you can choose from. But unfortunately, the mower has all the same concept here with these controls. So always you have to keep in mind which is turned on, which is turned off, which can get very complicated, especially with the G300, because it has more effects in the chain than this unit. Anyway, but I think for most applications this is enough. And if you have any questions or I explained something incorrectly, then please post your comments below. Subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.